Grandma, it's good to see you again. I heard that you're wanting to go on a diet, so I wanted to fill you in about fats and their role in our body. I know everyone always says that fats are bad for you and that you shouldn't be eating them, but I want to let you know that they're very important for the way our body functions. So there's four main classes of fats. So there's fatty acids, glycerides, non-glyceride lipids, and complex lipids. So fatty acids are something you'll probably recognize off like our nutrition labels. They're going to be saturated fats and unsaturated fats. So a saturated fat at like the basic chemical level looks like this. So it looks like that. And it's called saturated fat because it's saturated with hydrogen. So every carbon molecule on this saturated fat has all the hydrogens it can have. And these are going to be foods, these are going to be high in foods like butter and cheese that are solid at room temperature. And the reason is because of their chemical structure. They're able to pack in on top of each other at room temperature and solidify. And unsaturated fats, which look like this, are fats that aren't going to have a hydrogen on every carbon because of a bond like that. So this double bond right here takes away one hydrogen from this carbon and one hydrogen from that carbon. And so it gives them a little bit of a bend in the structure of the molecule. And these fats are going to be really high in things like more liquidy type foods such as oils, and they're also going to be found in nuts. And these are going to be better for you because they don't solidify at room temperature. Because of that kink in them, they aren't able to compact together like saturated fats are, and therefore they stay liquidy. So a type of unsaturated fat is called polyunsaturated fat. So I want to make sure that you know that our body doesn't make this type of fat, so it's something that needs to be taken in through diet. And it's really important because it helps in the membranes of our cells. So our body's made up of all these cells, and the membrane is going to be like the wall around it. And it's also going to help in hormone production. The next thing I want to talk about are glycerides. So you've probably heard of triglycerides, and they're also known as Tai-Seale glycerides, which are commonly referred to as triglycerides, and also THG tag. Those type of fats look like this. This one right here. We're going to have 3 chains of fatty acids attached to a glycerol main group right there. And so out of all the fat in our bodies, Tai-Seale glycerides is going to be 90% of the fat in our bodies. And typically these are going to be broken down by lipoprotein lipase into its basic components, which I just showed you, which glycerol and the 3 fatty acids, which are going to be used in our bodies for other metabolic functions. And another type of glyceride, which is very, very important for our bodies, is known as phospholipids. And these are super important because, like I told you about earlier, we have cells in our bodies. All the cells in our bodies pretty much have the same basic structure, and they all have what is called a cell membrane. So the cell membrane is made up of pretty much a barrier of phospholipids. So phospholipid, the basic structure looks like this. And there's a head part and then there's a tail part. And they kind of fit together like this, and they make up a wall of a lot of those. And the head part is going to be hydrophilic, which means it likes water, and it's the polar part. And then the tail part is hydrophobic, and it doesn't like water. And that's the tail part. So the head's attached to each other, or the tail's attached to each other, and the heads are going to be on either side. And they arrange like that to make what the barrier known as a cell membrane. Excuse me. So the next thing that I want to talk about, and it's really important, I need you to pay attention to this, is the non-glyceride lipids. And I know that doesn't really sound familiar, but I'm sure you've heard of a class of these molecules known as cholesterol. And besides cholesterol, there are non-glyceride lipids that make up steroids and hormones such as testosterone. And hormones like testosterone and cortisol are what they kind of help regulate body functions like reproduction. I know everyone always talks about cholesterol being a bad thing and like, oh, you don't want your cholesterol to be high, but it's really important also, like I mentioned before, for your cell membrane, because part of the cell membrane there's a cholesterol interspersed kind of randomly within the cell membrane, and it helps with the fluidity of the membrane. So if it was just the phospholipids, it would be kind of stiff and rigid, but with the cholesterol in it, it makes it more fluid. And this cholesterol is made in a part of the cell, which is like an organ of the cell known as the endoplasmic reticulum. But you don't want to get too much cholesterol either. Even though you do need it, you don't want too much of it. Typically you want to keep it about under 240 milligrams per deciliter. The last thing I want to talk about are, oh my god. Yes, I am still talking to you. Last thing I want to talk about are complex lipids. So these are going to be lipoproteins, including LDL, which is low density lipoprotein, and HDL, so high density lipoprotein. So LDL is the bad cholesterol that everybody talks about. This is what you want to avoid. This is because LDL has some protein, but it also has a lot of cholesterol. And it also has, the protein that it has is called apolipoprotein B. So, like I said, LDL is mostly known for bad cholesterol, and it's what causes coronary artery disease. And this is because the arteries easily take up LDLs, so it gets in there, the LDL gets in there, and because it has so much fat, the cholesterol, it kind of stays in there, and that's what causes the plaques in your arteries. Also, some of the some of the cells in the arteries easily attach to the LDL, so they not only get in easily, but they keep them there. So the other kind is HDL, high density lipoprotein, and this is a good kind. So you want to have a lot of this in your body because it is able to get rid of cholesterol in your body. So if you have excess cholesterol, you want high HDL because it'll be able to get rid of it. And another reason it's really good is because HDL is almost 55% protein, so that's always good. So that was the last bit I wanted to talk to you about, and to wrap things up, I know there was a lot of information to give you, but next time you're looking at your blood work that you get back from the doctors, you know what you're looking at, you can understand all the levels, and if you're still thinking about going on that diet, you know that fats are important, and you can't just cut them all out because it would be very bad for you. So I will see you later, Grandma.